Shalom. Thanks for joining me. Deuteronomy chapter 4 is in this one here now. Now, again, remember, I'm reading from the Complete Jewish Study Bible, which is a fabulous translation. So my translation may read a little different than what you might have. But if you have the YouVersion Bible app, you can get the Complete Jewish Study Bible right there on it. You can read right along with me. Now, and again, remember, now Moses is reciting all of this history, all of this past tense history while they're standing on the plains of the Moab. And this is before they cross the Jordan River. The entire book of the Deuteronomy takes place right on the eastern shore of the the Jordan River, and on the what's called the plains of Moab. And they're looking over the river, and they can see the city of Jericho on the other side. And this is going to be their first battle that they'll fight, and that's in the book of Joshua. So, remember where we are, chapter 4. Israel, listen to the laws and rulings I am teaching you in order to follow them so that you will live. Then you will go in and take possession of the land that Adonai, the God of your fathers, is giving you. In order to obey the mitzvot of Adonai your God, which I am giving you, do not add to what I'm saying, and do not subtract from it. You saw with your own eyes what Adonai did at Baal Peor, that Adonai destroyed from among you all the men that followed Baal Peor. But you who stuck with Adonai your God are still alive today, every one of you. Look, I have taught you laws and rulings, just as Adonai my God ordered me, so that you can behave accordingly in the land where you are going in order to take possession of it. Therefore observe them and follow them, for then all peoples will see you as having wisdom and understanding. When they hear of all these laws, they will say, this great nation is surely a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has God as close to them as Adonai our God is whenever we call on him? What great nation is there that has laws and rulings as just as this entire Torah which I am setting before you today? Only be careful and watch yourselves diligently as long as you live, so that you won't forget what you saw with your own eyes, so that these things won't vanish from your hearts. Rather, make them known to your children and grandchildren, the day you stood before Adonai your God at Horeb, when Adonai said to me, gather the people to me, and I will make them hear my very words, so that they will learn to hold me in awe as long as they live on earth, and so that they will teach their children. You approached and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain blazed with fire to the heart of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick mist. Then Adonai spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but saw no shape. There was only a voice. He proclaimed his covenant to you, which he ordered you to obey, the 10 words. And he wrote them on 2 stone tablets. And at that time, Adonai ordered me to teach you laws and rulings so that you would live by them in the land you are entering in order to take possession of it. So here's Moses talking about when he was on the mountain, Mount Sinai, and God gave him the 10 commandments. It's called the 10 words, by the way, in Hebrew. And so they heard the voice of God speaking out of that fire, and it terrified them. Therefore, verse 15, therefore watch out for yourselves, since you did not see a shape of any kind on the day Adonai spoke to you in Horeb from the fire. Do not become corrupt and make yourselves a carved image, having the shape of any figure, not a representation of a human being, male or female, or a representation of any animal on earth, or a representation of any bird that flies in the air, or a representation of anything that creeps along on the ground, or a representation of any fish in the water below the shoreline. For the same reason, do not look up at the sky, at the sun, moon, stars, and everything in the sky, and be drawn away to worship and serve them. Adonai your God has allotted these to all the peoples under the sky, under the entire sky. No, you, Adonai, has taken and brought out of the smelting furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of inheritance for him as you are today. So this is the warning. Do not make idols of any kind. Don't become an astrologer and look up there and worship the stars and say that the stars predict your future and all stuff. What's your sign? Is it a Pisces? Is it a Scorpio? Or whatever. Don't do that. It's evil. God is saying this is sin. This is evil. Don't do that. And then he says this beautiful phrase in verse 20. He says, you, Adonai, has taken and brought out of the smelting furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of inheritance for him as you are today. And that's a picture of the fact that slavery in Egypt, what was the bondage, and God freed them from that, and he purified his people, is what he's saying. And he's also saying that since you belong to me, you're a different kind of people than everybody else. You have a relationship with me that they don't have. So in verse 25, when you have had children and grandchildren, lived a long time in the land of this future land we're about to take, become corrupt and made a carved image, a representation of something, and thus done what is evil in the sight of Adonai your God and provoked him. Notice he's predicting the future here. Moses is a prophet, and he is, even though clear instructions, don't worship idols, don't make idols, don't become astrologers, don't look at the sun, the moon, the stars, and all that stuff and worship them. He already knows you're going to do that. Now, he's a prophet, that's why he knows that. But notice, after you had children, you've had grandchildren, you lived a long time in the land, you're going to do this. This is breaking his heart already. Verse 26, I call on the sky and the earth to witness against you today that you will quickly disappear from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not prolong your days there, but will be completely destroyed. Adonai will scatter you among the peoples and among the nations to which Adonai will lead you away, and you will be left few in number. There you will serve gods which are the product of human hands, made of wood and stone, which can't see, hear, eat, or smell. However, from there you will seek Adonai your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and being. In your distress, when all these things have come upon you, and the Acharet Hayamim, that means in the latter days, you will return to Adonai your God and listen to what he says. For Adonai your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, destroy you, or forget the covenant with your ancestors, which he swore to them. Oh, did you hear this prophecy? You're going to become idol worshipers, and you're going to lose the land. If you remember at the very closing of the book of Numbers, the Lord warned them again, said, look, you need to go in there and get rid of all these people. If you don't, they're going to become thorns in your eyes and stingers in your sides, and I will do to you what I was going to do to them. And here he is saying again in the same prophecy, you're going to be destroyed out of this land. But once you're in captivity, a remnant of you, not all of you, but a remnant of you will repent. A remnant of you will come to your senses, and you will turn back towards me, God, Adonai. And he says to conclude, well, verse 31, I'm a merciful God. I'm not going to fail you. I'm not going to destroy you. I'm not going to forget this covenant. If you turn to me with all your heart and you come back to me, I will forgive you. And then watch verse 32. This is a beautiful passage here. Indeed, inquire about the past before you were born. Since the day God created human beings on the earth, from one end of heaven to the other, has there ever been anything as wonderful as this? Has anyone heard anything like it? Did any other people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of a fire as you have heard and stay alive? Or has God ever tried to go and take for himself a nation from the very bowels of another nation by means of ordeals, signs, wonders, war, a mighty hand, an outstretched arm, and great terrors? He's talking about Egypt and the 10 plagues, and he's also talking about all the battles that they fought and won. Verse 35. This was shown to you No, excuse me, I missed a part. He said, sorry, back up to the end of verse 34. He talked about wonders, war, a mighty hand, outstretched arm, great terrors, like all that Adonai your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes. This was shown to you so that you would know that Adonai is God, and there is no other beside him. From heaven, he caused you to hear his voice in order to instruct you. And on earth, he caused you to see his great fire. And you heard his very words coming out from the fire. Because he loved your ancestors, chose their descendants after them, and brought you out of Egypt with his presence and great power, in order to drive out ahead of you nations greater and stronger than you, so that he could bring you in and give you their land as an inheritance, as is the case today. Know today and establish it in your heart that Adonai is God in heaven above and on earth below. There is no other. Therefore you are to keep his laws and mitzvot. Mitzvot means commands, commandments. Mitzvot, which I am giving you today, so that it will go well with you and with your children after you, so that you will prolong your days in the land Adonai your God has given you forever. So much to pay attention to in this passage. No other nation had heard God actually speak to them and live. And he says, I did all these amazing things so that you would know that I am God and that there is no other God. So what incentive would you have to worship these metal statues, these wooden carvings, these little stone statues, and set up pillars and stones and pray to all these demons and look up at stars and worship them and claim they have control over your life? I'm the only God. There is no other. All these other things are false. They're idols. They're demons. Don't pay attention to them. And notice, by the way, if you obey God's laws, it said, it will go well with you. You want to live a life that is full and rich and meaningful? Obey God's mitzvah. Obey God's laws. Live by God's word, and your life will go well, no matter what goes on around you. So, close to finishing, verse 41, then Moshe separated 3 cities on the east side of the Jordan toward the sunrise, to which a killer might flee, that is, someone who kills by mistake a person whom he did not previously hate, and upon fleeing to one of these cities might live there. The cities were Betzer in the desert, in the flatland for the Ravunai, Ramat and Gilad for the Gadi, and Golan and Bashan for the Manasseh. Have you heard of the Golan Heights? That's to the west of Damascus. That's where that area is. Notice these are cities. These are called cities of refuge. 3 on this side. There will be 3 on the other side. So this is the Torah which Moses placed before the people of Israel. These are the instructions, laws, and rulings which Moshe presented to the people of Israel after they had come out of Egypt. Beyond the Jordan River, in the valley across from Bet Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amori, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moshe and the people of Israel defeated when they came out of Egypt. And they took possession of his land, and the land of Og, king of Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amori, who were beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, from Aror, on the edge of the Arnon Valley, to Mount Sion, that is Mount Hermon, with all the Arava, beyond the Jordan eastward, all the way to the Dead Sea, at the foot of the slopes of Pisgah. It's a description of all the land that they had won, and they are in this land, and they are recognizing God has given it to us. Chapter 5, next.